Today we got a story time of some kids who think SCP-173 is actually real and unfortunately out to get them. Yeah, not even kidding. Leave a like on the video to claim your free nothing, subscribe, and let's just jump right into it. So today's story is about the subscriber who sent in today's story. We're going to call him AJ, and his friend Daniel. I got both these names from the comment section, so leave a comment of any name you want me to use. This happened when they were both in 3rd grade. So AJ, the subscriber, he had an older brother, and AJ and Daniel were pretty close friends. So one day in 3rd grade, AJ and Daniel were both, hanging out together, and they were both at AJ's house for like some kind of play date, right? And anyways, right, AJ's older brother was in 6th grade, and AJ's older brother had spent a lot of time on the internet, and he found the urban legend of SCP-173. So his brother was bored, AJ's older brother, and he noticed that AJ and Daniel were downstairs, and he thought, I'm kind of bored, man. Let me play a prank on AJ and his friend. So anyways, AJ's older brother walks downstairs. And sure enough, right, AJ and Daniel are just kind of sitting there. I think they're, on the couch playing, Lego Star Wars or something. So the thing is, right, AJ and Daniel have access to, like, some video games. Like, the parents allow AJ and Daniel to have access to, like, for example, some Wii games, maybe Minecraft, some, like, very low-key games. However, they're not allowed online. So AJ and Daniel would have no idea about any of these urban legends, and AJ's older brother knows this to be the case. So AJ goes down, and he's like, hey guys, how's it going? He doesn't want to seem suspicious or anything, so he just kind of goes down and sits down. AJ's mom then walks into the room and tells them that, she's going to the grocery store, and if they need anything or if there's any problem, just to tell AJ's older brother to contact her because he has a phone and he has her number, whatever. But anyways, that she won't be gone for long, and if they need anything, just to contact her. So she goes out, gets into her car, and drives off. And AJ's older brother turns to AJ and Daniel. He's like, guys, I need to talk to you for a second. I needed to wait until, mom was gone. And AJ kind of looked at him really confused, and he's like, okay. And, he pauses the game. I'm assuming it's Lego Star Wars, not like some kind of like live game or something where it's like you're playing with other people where you can actually pause it. But anyways, right, AJ and Daniel turn to him and they're just kind of like, oh, what's up? And AJ's older brother's just like, man, there's just something on my chest, and I have to tell you guys, it's for your own safety. It's for your own good. At this point, right, AJ and Daniel were very disinterested because they're just, oh my God, like, what's it? What's the problem? And so AJ's older brother looks at them and says, all right, you can't tell anyone about this, but you need to know. Do you know my friend Ben? Once again, I'm using the name Ben. Sure, we'll go in the comment section, meme me, whatever, I don't care. Anyways, he's like, so you know my friend Ben? And so basically, right, AJ's older brother had a friend, Ben, that he knew for a while, but then Ben had to move to, like, Las Vegas for some reason, right? And AJ and Daniel are looking at him, and AJ says, yeah, Ben, didn't he have to, like, move, like, a year ago? And AJ's older brother says, yeah, Ben had to move. And he said it was for, like, his parents got a new job, but that wasn't the case. And AJ and Daniel both look at AJ like, oh, what happened? And AJ's older brother goes on to say, so Ben has an older brother himself. And Ben's older brother, right, no one knew about this, but he was working for the government. And he was working for a very secret part of the government. And AJ and Daniel, like, this catches their attention, man. I mean, someone they used to know or someone AJ used to know, it was like his older brother's working for the government. So AJ's older brother says, yeah, my friend Ben, his older brother, he used to work for the government. And it was on a very, very top secret mission that they had in Las Vegas or Las Vegas, Nevada or whatever, right? And, AJ and his brother and Daniel are like, oh, what happened? And AJ goes on to say, or AJ's older brother goes on to say, so basically, this is what Ben told me. Ben was telling me that his older brother worked for a secret organization for the government that was keeping control and studying this thing they found. They called it SCP-173. And at this point, right, AJ and Daniel were just like, oh my God, what is going on? And AJ's older brother goes on to say, yeah. And then Ben, he was telling me about how, he was telling me about this creature and how it works. Essentially, right, it's like this inanimate object thing. It's like made of stone, and it sits there, right? And it has to sit in this like confinement cell, but they have to go clean it every couple of weeks. And the thing is, as long as someone is looking at it, it can't hurt you. But the second someone is not looking at it, it will game end everybody in the room. And AJ and Daniel look at him, just like so kind of like scared and confused at this point. And AJ's older brother goes on to say, yeah. And then Ben was telling me that, it got out. And at this point, AJ and Daniel were like, ah! And AJ's older brother's like, it gets worse. It gets worse. He's like, also, I was able to get a photo of it. And the thing is, right, AJ's older brother, he went online, Googled SCP-173, took a screenshot, and he pulls out his phone. He's like, guys, all right, you can't tell anyone I have this photo as it's super classified. And like, I'm not even supposed to have it. Ben's not even supposed to have it. Ben's older brother told him not to share it to anyone. So the fact that I have it is like, we could be on a watch list or something, but I need to show you what it looks like just in case you guys see it. And so AJ's older brother showed them more or less a photo like this. I just grabbed it off the internet myself. And at this point, AJ and Daniel are like, oh my God, is Ben's older brother okay? And, AJ's older brother says, yes, but he only barely escaped. Apparently, right, when the two guards that were watching SCP-173, they blinked at the same time, and then they both got destroyed, and he just escaped, and he made his way, destroying every single person in the organization. And I don't know how Ben's older brother made it out, but I think he saw on the cameras, and he just alerted everyone, and he just got out barely, but they don't know where SCP-173 is anymore. And apparently, right, he's been going across the country, and he's been going on this linear path. Ben's older brother told me about this. AJ's older brother then goes on to explain that apparently Ben was telling him that SCP-173 has been, like, spotted attacking people, and they've been tracking it. Ben's older brother has, in the United States organization that's been in charge of, like, trying to, like, contain it and figure out where it's gone, has been tracking the attacks, and the attacks have been like all happening in a very linear pattern, and it was pointing, or at least the pattern, the line looked like it was about to go through the state that, AJ and Daniel lived in. I don't want to say what state it is. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but whatever. It's important to know that when AJ's older brother was explaining it, he was trying to say, like, oh, the attacks are coming right at us. Real quick, comment SCP down below in the comment section. Comment it maybe 2-3 times if you want a better chance of getting a heart, because I'll do my best to heart as many comments as I possibly can, but I don't have a ton of time. And also, just don't take it personally if you don't get a heart. I still really do appreciate you watching the video and leaving a comment. And by the way, if you want to submit stories like this, do so to my Instagram on screen, and also give it a follow, even if you're not going to go submit stories. Anyways, back to the story. AJ and Daniel are just super scared after this point, and AJ's older brother, thinks he's pretty funny. He thinks he's hilarious, right? And he's like, all right, guys, I'm really glad I told you that. I also showed you the photo. If you see SCP-173, I'm just telling you, you guys can't look away. Back away slowly, and then when you have a chance, run. He said, but don't worry, the odds of this actually happening are like less than 10%, obviously giving really high odds of that happening. Like 10% chance of like a big scary monster coming after you is still pretty bad. So he's like, oh, there's probably only a 10% chance this happens. And AJ and Daniel were not like calmed down by hearing that there's only like a 10% chance, obviously, right? Anyways, this story is actually unlike any other story I've ever told on the channel because it is a multi-year long story. So anyways, immediately after AJ's older brother telling them, AJ and Daniel were like super freaked out. And, they really had trouble going to bed, for actually quite a long time. Like, for weeks and weeks, if not months after that, AJ and Daniel would, like, have recurring nightmares. They would be in bed, and they would, like, be sitting there, and they'd hear a noise and be like, oh my God, it's SCP-173. He's actually after us. Like, he's here. When, he wasn't here because he's not real. Knock on wood. I don't know, man. No, but seriously, like, for weeks and weeks and months, they were having nightmares, they were having terrible dreams, and they were really freaking out about it. And also, at this point, they still had no access to the internet. Years later, This is why I said that this story is unlike any other story I've ever told on the channel, because the stories I normally tell happen within maybe the span of like a day or 2 days and at most a week. But this story happens over years. So years later, I think it's maybe 1 or 2 or whatever, and finally AJ is granted access to the internet. His parents were like, all right, you can go online, that's fine. We have some restrictions in place. And one of the, AJ says he kind of has forgotten about the whole SCP thing. Like, he thinks about it once in a while and he gets scared, but it's not really like as bad as it was like for the following weeks after he was told about it. So he's online and he's watching YouTube videos and he's learning all about that. And then one day, a couple weeks after he's given access to the internet, AJ's sitting there, he's like, wait a minute, I wonder if there's anything online about SCP-173. And he looks it up. And he starts doing like research and clicking to websites and such, and he realizes that it's an internet legend. It's not even like, first of all, it's not some top secret thing that no one knows about. There's like 1 million page results. He's like, what? And then he looked into it, and it's like an internet urban legend with like animations and video games and such. And at this point, right, AJ was kind of mad. AJ was kind of upset because him and, Daniel, they were scared for weeks. They couldn't sleep for months over this thing. So, AJ goes upstairs, confronts his older brother. And his older brother is just straight up like, yeah, I was just trolling you guys. AJ's like, dude, I was so freaked out. AJ's older brother's like, yeah, it was a good troll. It worked. So the next day rolled around and AJ found Daniel in school, and AJ was like, Daniel, and then he explains everything. And by the end of it, Daniel was basically in tears because he was so happy, because unlike AJ, who kind of forgot about it, Daniel was thinking about it like every single day. Like, he was still freaking out about it, and Daniel's like, man, you don't know like how much better my life is now. Subscribe if you haven't already, drop a like on the video, and then click on one of the 4 videos on screen right now, or watch another video to help the channel. Peace.